言ってんのか。
うるせえ。腹なんか減ってるもんか。食え。うるせえ。向こうに行け。落ちぶれてもな、施しは受けねえんだよ俺は。とっととこの飯を下げろ。
Hello there, welcome back to another episode of Anime with Alvin. Today, I'll be making Sanji seafood risotto from One Piece. Now, it's often debated whether this is a seafood risotto or a seafood fried rice, but based on the visual that the rice grains are pale and not separated, I'm going to go with the idea that this is a risotto. One of the items seen clearly nestled within the risotto is shrimp, so I'm going to cut the shells off and remove the little poop tube inside 8 ounces of shrimp. A nice trick is to use paper towel for a little bit of extra grip on that tube. And we won't just toss away these shells just yet. Sanji is a pretty resourceful cook, so we're gonna find a use for that really soon. Moving on. So here I have a tray of pretty commonly found vegetables and scraps that one might find on a pirate ship. Alright, just gotta go ahead and cut these up really quick. Alright, now that our vegetables have been cut, we're gonna... Oh, that was too fast? Alright, here's what it looked like in slow motion. I'm quartering 1 large onion with the skins, just a rough chop. Cutting up 6 to 8 parsley stems, 2 medium carrots, and 3 celery stalks. Nothing crazy, just a pretty rough chop overall. Another ingredient that we do see in the risotto is octopus. So I have here a 3-pound octopus, and in order to cook it more efficiently, I'm gonna go and cut off its legs. Honestly, sounds kinda rough, but when you're on a ship in a vast blue ocean, you take the food that you can get. The final visible element in the risotto seems to be a white ring, which I'm probably guessing is calamari. So I'm gonna cut up 6 ounces of squid tubes into rings. Pretty much done here, now it's time to move to the stove. Since this is a seafood risotto, making a seafood stock makes sense. So I'm heating up 3 tablespoons of oil in a large pan, and toasting the shrimp shells along with some lobster shells we had lying around in the studio. This part's always pretty cool. You get to watch the shells go from a dull gray to a nice vibrant and bright orange, which usually means you can now do some other stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and dump in those octopus tentacles along with the octopus head, and after those cook with the shells for about 2 minutes, I'm gonna pour in 48 ounces of water, followed by all our nice vegetables. For extra aromatics, I'm adding in 2 bay leaves, 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, but not salt, not just yet. I'm just gonna bring this up to a small simmer and let this cook for about an hour or so, just so that the flavors get a nice chance to infuse and the octopus gets a chance to tenderize. Okay, it's been an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and take the octopus legs out because that's gonna go in the risotto itself, and I'm gonna go ahead and strain the rest of this stock through a fine mesh sieve. In case you're curious about the smell, it doesn't smell like fish at all. It kind of smells like chicken noodle soup that you might want on a nice winter day. Just one last step before I get to cooking this risotto. Gotta cut up this onion and shallot real quick. Alright, now that we've cut up our onion and too fast again? Steve, can we get an instant replay? Here you see that I'm finally chopping a yellow onion and a shallot. Oh, this kind of burns. Hold on, let me just put on some protection real quick. Perfect. Now that our onions and shallots are finally chopped, it's time to cook. To start things off, I'm heating 2 tablespoons in a high-walled saucepan over medium heat. In go the onions and the shallots, adding a little bit of salt to help it sweat. And these are just gonna go until they're translucent for about 3 to 4 minutes. Joining the sweaty onions and shallots will be 7 ounces of arborio rice. Oh, whoops, let's just get that out of there. I like to toast the rice in the pan for about 2 to 3 minutes until the exterior of each granule starts to turn translucent. To deglaze, I'm adding in 4 ounces of a dry white wine, stirring it around until the risotto has absorbed pretty much all the wine. Now for the fun part of making risotto. Now it's time to add the seafood stock we made earlier, approximately 1/4 of a cup at a time, stirring the rice and letting the stock absorb before adding in the next addition. I've been told that if you do not stir the risotto constantly, Italians may be a little angry at you. And well, that doesn't sound very fun. I'm repeating this process until the stock is nearly gone, adding the stock, stirring it constantly, and waiting for the stock to absorb. Once there's only about 1/4 cup of stock left, I'm going to add the shrimp, the squid, and the octopus back into the risotto with the remaining stock. The shrimp turns a nice bright orange, and the squid rings start to firm up into a circular shape. To prevent overcooking, I'm turning off the heat and adding in 1.5 ounces of cold butter and about 2 tablespoons of finely chopped parsley, which I believe are the little green specks found in Sanji seafood risotto. Season to taste, plate up, and I present to you our first version of Sanji seafood risotto, and a plate that is a little too small for this. As for taste, very, very, very seafoody. almost like a seafood porridge of some sorts. Maybe it's because it overcooked the rice a little bit, and maybe it's because we had a lot of ingredients left over from the shoot, but I did want to see what another version might look like. So I'm gonna run it back, frying up the leftover shallots, the onions, and rice in a little bit of butter before adding in fish stock, which we happen to have in a container in the fridge. Not really sure where that was from, but it always feels satisfying to use up stuff we find in the fridge. The cooking process remains the same, adding in stock, stirring till combined, waiting for absorption, adding in more stock. And just like before, I'm adding in the leftover seafood that we didn't use in the first batch into this batch. But I did remember that in my risotto video watching days, a good amount of them had some cheese folded in at the end for that nice consistency. And we did happen to have a lot of Parmesan lying around in the fridge, so I'm gonna fold in about 2 generous handfuls of Parmesan cheese. I know that seafood and cheese usually don't mix, but I was curious to see how this was gonna turn out. And voila, version 2 of Sanji's seafood risotto, made with a lot of leftovers and ingredients found in the fridge. Not as gourmet as the first version, but honestly, this tastes so much better. Whether it's because the fish stock was already really salty or the fact that we added a lot of Parmesan cheese, but this tastes amazing. This is a dish that I think if you could feed to any person who was hungry, they'd eat the whole thing in an instant. And that is exactly what I'm going to do.